Hey, what's good, homies? It's your man, Dr. BOA. You know, man, that boy Steve Harvey, man, is a cancer to manhood and masculinity, man. I mean, he's an absolute cancer to manhood and masculinity. Somebody just sent me a link, man, of him doing a live chat with this single mother and her little son. Boy, looked like he couldn't have been any older than about 6 years old, man. And the questions Steve was asking him were grown man questions. He's asking this little kid questions about what's the perfect date to take a woman on. And, you know, how do you keep a woman happy? And how do you take care of a woman? And how you supposed to treat her and all that? This kid is 6 and repeating the things that his single mother, who's fairly attractive, by the way, has put into his head to make him into the type of man that she would want the men she's been with in failed relationships to have been. We're going to have to put a stop to these guys like Steve Harvey, man. Let's take a deep dive on this one. But first, let's elevate to a higher plane. Prepare for takeoff. Now, the bottom line is this, man. No matter what we do, no matter what we say, there are men in this society who do everything in their power to kill the masculinity of the next generation of boys who are going to become the next generation of men. So I'm going to play the audio on this, man. I won't play the video because there's a kid in the video and YouTube's kind of iffy about that. But I'll play the audio of this, man. And I want you to listen to this exchange and listen to how rehearsed this little kid's responses sound. And I want you to listen to the type of accolades that Steve gives him. And we'll come back and talk about it.
First of all, what's a good place to take a girl out on a date?
Somewhere that the girl wants to eat. I don't care if I don't like, I'm still gonna bring her there.
Boy, you better tell the truth. Take a girl where she like to go. It don't matter if you like it. Boy, you brilliant. Okay, let me ask you something else. What's the best way to keep a girl happy?
It's to always keep her, is to always give her love and make sure she's good and never try to make her look bad. Always make her look beautiful.
Boy, you a good little dude, man. I like the way you think.
Now, what you hear is a man who has been so browbeaten by the woman in his life. We all know the story of Steve's wife and her history and how he finally got her when he was never her choice. When she got to the point where her choices were limited, now she chooses him. And we know the story about him running her ragged, about her running him ragged. But what we want to talk about is why he feels the need to perpetuate that submissive feminine energy to the next generation of boys. Why he feels the need to make these modern women feel like they're right in their pursuit of masculinity. Why they should think like a man, but act like a woman. You can't. You act the way you think. If you think like a man, you act like a man, because once you think like a man and think you're a man, acting like a woman is inferior to acting like a man. Being a woman is inferior to being a man. And that is why so many women gravitated toward the concept of think like a man, act like a lady. He knows how virtually impossible that is. But see, let me tell you, in his life and many of these other men who are perpetuating this same energy toward the young men, he thinks like a woman and acts like a man. And he deals with the woman who thinks like a man and acts like a lady. But that's what he tells us. From what I'm seeing, she don't act like a lady. She act like his boss. So when you hear him seconding this man and backing this up, and this is the thing, the majority of men in this society would back that same behavior up. Those were the absolute worst answers I've ever heard. Did you hear him tell this little boy, man, that he was correct in saying that even if I don't like the place, I'm going to take the woman where she wants to go? Does that not sound like a beta male simp mangina to you? This is the craziest thing I've ever heard, man. And I've heard Steve do some crazy things and say some crazy things. But we have to understand as men, this is the battle we're up against. The majority of men out here are not gonna think on the level of alpha kings. They're not gonna elevate themselves to the level of truly being the prize. They're gonna perpetuate this energy that the woman is the prize, and you had just better be glad to have the prize. And you better do everything in your power to keep pleasing the prize, to keep appeasing the prize. And you better not even think about leaving the prize. This guy does not need to be allowed to speak to young men about anything because he's soft. Not just soft, he's a simp. His woman proves it. He proves it every time he speaks. His history proves it. And the fact that he would sit here and coax this hoax of spreading true masculinity. There is nothing masculine about doing things that don't please you in order to please a woman. There is nothing masculine about jumping through hoops and doing all type of tricks and jumping through flaming hoops with gasoline draws on for a woman who won't appreciate it. See, we don't believe that you shouldn't deal with women. We believe that you deal with women from a position of power. And telling this young man that he should bow down and kowtow and step and fetch for a woman. And we're not even talking about his wife. We're talking about a woman he's taking on a date. Wherever she want to go. Whatever you want. Girl, you know I can provide. We back to that Tony again, man. No man should be thinking like this. See, what we're about to start doing, man, we're about to take a full speed ahead approach to perpetuating true masculinity, the true essence of being a man, the true essence of being a king, the true essence of being an alpha king. See, what we're about to do, man, we're about to go full speed ahead with the essence of being a man, the essence of being an alpha male, the essence of being a king, the essence of being an alpha king. That's our mission moving forward, man. We cannot allow these guys who think like women to tell young boys that that's how they should think. Because before you know it, we'll have a world full of Steve Harveys and a world full of Jada Pinkett Smiths. And you know what that means for us? We are the last of a dying breed. Right here in the alpha sphere, we are the last of a dying breed. Many men won't come on board, but so what? We don't need them on board. We need men on board who are alpha kings. We need men on board who don't prize women, who don't prize their bodies, who don't prize their minds. Yes, can you appreciate their bodies, appreciate their minds, and do all of these things? Yes. But to prize them means that you don't prize yourself. And I don't know about any of these other guys, but right here in the alpha sphere, we prize ourselves. I don't know why so many people think that this is the way a man should be when every man who is this way gets nothing but negative results. And man, you should have seen the comments. Man, all the women in the comments were talking about he's a king. What a king. Wow, he's going to make some woman a wonderful husband. Yeah, he is going to make some woman a wonderful husband, a wonderful servant, a wonderful marriage servant. But they love that talk coming from a little boy because it's a great fantasy. But when a man in a real life gives them that activity, they take advantage of him. They treat him like he's nothing. They treat him like they deserve it. They treat him like the court jester instead of an alpha king. See, we demand respect from women. We demand respect from men. And anyone who doesn't give it, are we going to go to war? No. We're going to cut them off. There is no need for this to be perpetuated to this young man. And Steve Harvey is a cancer to manhood and masculinity. He doesn't care about manhood and masculinity. He doesn't care how young boys end up in relationships. He doesn't care if young boys end up going into this marriage situation, ending up being one of the 50% of marriages that end up in divorce and losing half of their goods. He doesn't care if young men end up in a situation like Dr. Dre. He doesn't care if young men end up in a situation like Emmitt Smith. He doesn't care if young men end up in a situation like Tracy Morgan. He doesn't care if young men end up in a situation like Russell Wilson. He doesn't care if young men end up in a situation like all the way back to Scottie Pippen. He does not care if a young man ends up in a situation where he has to accept the fact that he has been a sucker and a pawn in a woman's game for domination of masculinity. We cannot sit by and sit on our hands and allow this type of energy to be perpetuated without giving these young men an alternative. And that alternative is here in the alpha sphere. Y'all comment down below and let me know what you think about this topic, man. I look forward to hearing what you men have to say. I'm out.